Forum, sponsored by the Humboldt County Human Rights Commission and conducted by the League of Women Voters of Humboldt County. I'm Carol Johnson, and I'll serve as moderator for the forum tonight. The topic is the feasibility of citizen review of law enforcement. And this topic is designed to address practical issues, including both the potential benefits and the problems of instituting law enforcement review program in Humboldt County. I'd like you to meet the people who've worked on putting this forum together from the Human Rights Commission and people in the community. So those of you who are in that those categories, would you please stand up? Thank you. We appreciate all the work you have done to prepare for this event. The Human Rights Commission has held two other forums related to this topic. The first was on the value of citizen advisory groups in general, and the second on the perceived community need for greater public involvement with law enforcement matters. The Board of Supervisors has charged the Commission to assess the situation and make recommendations on improving the mutual relationship of the public and law enforcement. Such recommendations would be intended to increase public confidence in law enforcement activities, reduce the likelihood of costly claims and potential litigation, and educate the public more fully on the work of law enforcement agencies in general. The League of Women Voters is conducting this forum to promote citizen education. As a nonpartisan political organization, we encourage the informed and active participation of citizens in their government. Through our voter service activities, we provide impartial information about candidates, ballot measures, and voting, but we never support or oppose candidates or political parties. We also study governmental issues, arrive at member consensus, and take action at the appropriate level of government. We have no position on the topic under consideration tonight. And by the way, membership in the League is open to everybody who is a U.S. citizen and over 18 years of age or over, and it's open to both men and women. This forum is an example of one of the ways the League tries to make democracy work. Many policy issues generate a good deal of emotion because of people's very diverse opinions. This is an informational forum designed to increase your understanding, and also that of the Human Rights Commission, of this public policy issue. We hope that you will give the speakers your careful attention and refrain from any demonstrations of support or opposition during the forum. We will thank all of our presenters with our applause at the end of the program. To ensure a balanced and informational forum on the feasibility of citizen review of law enforcement, we will follow this format. We'll have 10-minute opening and statements by each of the panelists, and at the end, a 5-minute closing statement. And in between, the panelists will answer written questions from the audience. To submit a question, please raise your hand, and a League usher will give you a card and pencil and collect your question. And let's have the League ushers raise their hands so you'll know who they are. Thank you. The questions will be sorted by League members according to topic to avoid duplication and those of a personal nature. The League helpers tonight are ushers John Bennett, Carol Siskin, and Carol Masterson. Timekeeper is Sarah Reed, and the question sorters are Judy Bennett, Sherilyn Hutton, and Melanie Johnson. At 8 o'clock, we'll have a 5-minute break, and the forum will end by 9. So now I'd like to start by introducing the 5 panelists and tell you a little bit about each of them. We'll start on my far right with Christina Albright. She is a Humboldt County Deputy Public Defender. In 1991, she founded the Redwood chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union, and in 2005 coordinated the formation of the Coalition for Police Review. Next is Chief Gar Nielsen of the Eureka Police Department, who has served as chief for the past year and has 28 years of experience in law enforcement. He heads the largest municipal law enforcement agency in Humboldt County, with 75 personnel, 50 of whom are sworn staff. Third in line is Barbara Attard. She's an independent police auditor for the city of San Jose and has 25 years of experience including serving as past president of the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. She believes in and has written about using mediation for some types of complaint resolution. Robert Aronson is next. He's the independent police auditor for the City of Santa Cruz and the police ombudsman for the City of Davis. He also audits police departments statewide, represents law enforcement managers individually, and is a certified instructor in law enforcement management and supervision. And on my immediate right is Humboldt County Sheriff Gary Philp, who was elected in 2002 and is serving his second term now. He has 35 years of law enforcement experience, and he supervises a department of 92 deputies, 115 correctional officers, and 65 civilian staff. So we'll begin our panel presentations on my far right with Christina Albright.
Thank you, and thank you for all being here, and thank you for the Human Rights Commission and the League. I'm going to give you a brief history of review in Humboldt County since the 1990s, share with you 10 principles for effective review, and then explain briefly why I'm still optimistic for review to happen in Humboldt County. In the 1990s, and specifically 1992, the Justice for Virgil Payne Committee formed again after a death that had happened 15 years earlier. They joined with the ACLU in asking the Board of Supervisors for a committee to be formed to review law enforcement conduct. That was referred to the grand jury. The 1993-1994 grand jury report recommended that a citizens advisory group be formed. They specifically made these findings. Although the written procedures for citizen complaints exist, not all Humboldt County Sheriff's Department office personnel are familiar with it. The Internal Affairs Officer, a detective, investigates citizens' complaints. This is done on a time-available basis. It is viewed as a low-priority assignment. The front office personnel don't always know who the Internal Affairs Officer is. It is difficult for a citizen to identify who the internal officer is. Complaints are required to be written on a provided form, and citizens don't get a copy unless they request it. The complaint must be delivered in person to a sergeant or shift supervisor. The complainant may never learn who the investigating officer is or if the complaint is being investigated. A complaint may take months to process. Citizens are not notified in a timely manner of the disposition, and when they are notified, the letter contains no information other than that the investigation is complete and closed. Neither deputies nor front office personnel receive training on dealing with the public. And they reached, again, the 93-94 grand jury reached these conclusions. The Sheriff's Department does not follow its own written guidelines on citizens' complaints. The low priority given to citizen complaints by the Sheriff's Department indicates an absence of concern and respect for the public. I certainly hope that some of these things have changed since then, but I'm afraid from what I've been told from people that not very many of them, if any of them, have. In 1994, then, the Board of Supervisors responded by ordering that a county-wide Citizens Advisory Committee to work with law enforcement be formed. And three main things that they were to do were to assist law enforcement and the community in developing preventative strategies which will empower the communities to create safe, crime-free neighborhoods. They were to educate citizens on how the criminal and civil justice systems work, including local law enforcement services being offered in the community. And they were to support local law enforcement in developing a range of community volunteers organized and trained to develop community outreach and encourage community input. There then ensued some confusion, as you might imagine, about whether or not this committee was really chartered to do what the grand jury said that they should be doing, because it appeared to be acting more as a law enforcement support